Tom, because it's still not warm in this country. In the UK it's cold.
It's okay. It's cold here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Keeping It Real on Purpose, and we are so glad you're here today. Today we are going to be enhancing, I guess, what we always do. So I have been on the verge of finding these amazing people, and today we're going to journey with someone wonderful that I really like the subject, and you guys know I love subjects like this, and I know you will too. My guest today is none other than Michael Watson. He's from UK, I believe, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So he is a family court coach. I'm excited to hear what he has to say. Michael Watson is a qualified social worker with over 30 years of experience providing evidence in the court. His journey into the family court system took a profound turn after a tragic murder of a 3-year-old child he was working with. Called to testify, Michael faced one of the most challenging experiences of his life. Determined to master the courtroom environment, he repeatedly returned to testify until he could confidently defend his position. Drawing from this experience, Michael authored Family Court, giving evidence in the family court to help others navigate the complexities of testifying and handling cross-examination. He has also developed a 4-step system designed to assist individuals in getting the best outcome from their family court cases. This system not only is valuable to legal settings, but also in managing traumatic and stressful life circumstances. Welcome, Michael Watson, the family court coach.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. So how do you show up in the world besides what I said?
Yeah, I think I show up in the world as wanting very much. I mean, I would say as part of why I'm a social worker, I've been a social worker for so long because you want to help people. I think I got into social work because of my own background. Not that I had a bad background. I didn't have a bad childhood, but something happened. My parents split up when I was very young. And I think I always believe I had something to offer children. And I think that's why I got into it.
Right.
But as a result of the experience I had, which is a long time ago now, it really catapulted me into, or I catapulted myself, I suppose, into the family courts and doing this work. And it's not, social work in itself is stressful, but the core, I would say, is the most stressful part of social work. And so I know there's an awful lot of people who need this help, who need, and that's not to undermine people's ability to be resilient. It's not about undermining their experience or anything like that. The core is set up in a way that's going to make even the most confident person feel nervous,
right?
You're stressed, so you're not meant to feel comfortable.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
it's called a stress test. So that's the reality of it.
Right.
Put someone in the hot seat and see how they fry.
Yes.
So,
it's even in the simplest circumstances you feel uncomfortable, no matter what it is, in a court setting.
Yeah. It really is in every sense alien to most people, unless you're legally trained, unless you're that's what you do for your bread and butter every day, then it's different. And that's the difference, because most people, even if you go to court once in a while, you're not on the level of people who go to court every single day and they train and they hone their skills for this particular thing. So, most people are very, very, very nervous, and it's totally understandable. And I was for a long time.
Yeah,
I still am sometimes when I go to court, but I don't let it faze me anymore.
Okay, good. I know that you're a social worker, and I know that's one of the fields that a lot of people are, it turns over a lot, people leave, they go to different positions, or they transition, however it happens. What kept you in the field for over 30 years?
Madness. Well, we laugh about any joke, but I think it is a bit of madness. When I say
Okay.
there was a job, there were a couple of jobs I had that I
Okay.
loved. One was a children's guardian. It was like a guardian. It was a guardian.
Hmm.
Basically, I was uh, appointed to represent the interests of a child.
Okay.
And I loved that job. I did love it until,
Hmm.
there's always politics, and politics comes in, it changes everything.
Right. Of
Um,
course.
so
Yeah.
I loved that job. And there was another job I had, which is an independent social worker, and I loved that job
Hmm.
because I love the autonomy, and I
Hmm.
love to be able to do, and if I want to do, look at what I'm doing and care for people and assess the situation and do the best the job I can. That's what I
Right.
love doing. But of course, they came and they changed it and made it all this, and you have to do this, and you have to jump these
Right.
hurdles and jump that. So
Yeah.
in the end, no. And then I didn't really enjoy what I was doing. I was trying to find something within the social work field that still made me feel
Right.
reasonably comfortable. But actually, social work, I believe, needs to change. It needs to
Yeah.
change
I
drastically
agree.
if it's
I
gonna
agree.
keep people, if it's gonna deliver what it's meant to deliver.
Hmm.
It has to change. But you know what? No one's listening. So no one's listening. So they have to
Yeah,
figure
they're
out.
listening, but I don't think they're not, like you said earlier, I think that the system doesn't have the ability to listen to that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a real shame because it's not just. I mean, it's a shame for social workers who do a really hard job and they don't get a good rap for it and a reputation for it
Right.
anyhow.
Right.
It's a shame for children and people and vulnerable people who need that help and assistance.
Right.
Because I think it's going to get tough. It's going to get really tough.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah,
we're
I
in that
hear
type
you.
of environment now,
Hmm.
worse than ever.
Yeah. What's the biggest challenge you face when testifying in court?
I think the biggest challenge that most people face is dealing with their emotions,
Okay.
and feelings, and the little voices inside their head. That little
Hmm.
voice inside their head. If they haven't dealt with that,
Hmm.
if they haven't dealt with, they have to deal. Before you get to court, you have to deal with your emotions and
Okay.
your thoughts.
But what do
So
you mean by emotions? What do you mean by that?
your fears, your anxieties, your nervousness, your doubts.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
have to deal with all of that. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you want to say. You
Right.
have to
Right.
you have to be prepared for all of that.
Right.
You have to
Gotcha.
prepare yourself.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I know emotions do you start to happen. You start to get emotional, and it could come out as rage. It could come out as
Yeah.
crying. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean now.
And you can't afford to do any of that in court. You've got to be in
Yes.
control of yourself all the time.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and it's a mind game.
Right.
It's very much a mind and emotional game.
Oh,
And you
that's
have to
good.
master that before you get in that court. You
Right.
can't do it when the time you're in the witness box. You have
Right.
to do it well before that time.
Right. And that's where you come in. You kind of help train with those things.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
yes, you have to. I mean, that's why the four-step system really deals with all that. But you have
Okay.
to be
Okay.
calm and in control of yourself. You have to have a great attitude.
Right.
Yeah, you have to be able to listen. You can't listen. You can't answer questions. You can't answer questions. You can't give good evidence. You can't give good evidence. You're not likely to do well
Right.
in
Oh,
case.
that's good. Yeah.
And you
Hmm.
have to be able to. You have to master before master. You have to be mindful about how you answer questions, and then you have
Hmm.
to have mastery, which is the culmination of the bringing together of the other four steps: the calm, the attitude, the listening, and the mindfulness.
Hmm.
Bring it
Hmm.
all together, and you have once you've mastered that, you have a recipe for going out and giving the best evidence. But
Right.
that takes time, and a lot of people aren't prepared to put in that time and that effort.
Oh, wow. So it takes time. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And when I say time, look, don't you're not
Yeah,
going to do
no, I know what you
it.
mean. It's
You
just
don't
that you
need-
have to you
you
have to
have to
plan
work
for
on that.
that. Sit
Yeah,
down and kind of
yeah,
take care
yeah,
of that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Because if you're talking about anything with family court, it's emotionally charged. Anything with
yeah,
that, it's just
definitely.
emotion. There's nothing that's not emotional about that. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
it's
yeah,
charged
yeah.
with emotion. So um How
sort
do
of
you help people deal with the emotional toll or the on the family, during the family court proceedings or before it, prior?
yeah. I mean, you've got to meet with it. I meet with people. I have to meet with them. I have to talk with them. I have to understand where they're at,
Right,
their level of anxiety, their level of emotional,
right.
their feelings, their emotional state. It's really important to understand. It's important for me to understand their emotional state. It's even more important for them to understand their emotional state. They
Mm-hmm,
have to
mm-hmm.
understand where they're at, because
Right.
actually, if you go to court and you're all over the place,
Yeah.
you might as well just pin something on you saying, "I'm in a state. Just pick on me, and you'll get what you want." Because that's what barristers will do. Because barristers
Yes, of
will
course.
they'll look at you. You'll be showing off signals saying, I'm not in control of myself, and then all they'll have to say is a few things. You lose control, and then end of your case. You're not going to do well.
Right. Exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
it's really important for me and them to figure out what they do to calm themselves down, because you need to be calm. The first step in the system is calm and
Mm-hmm.
control yourself, and that has to happen well before. All of it has to happen before court, but you have to.
Yes.
That's the first step. If you can't be
Yes.
calm and in control, the thing is, if you can't be calm and in control, you can't think.
Okay.
When you're upset and distressed, angry, or just nervous, you literally, that part of your brain that you need to think, the cortex, the higher function of your brain,
Mm-hmm.
isn't accessible to you. That's why when people get angry, they can't think, can't
Right.
answer, they can't talk. All they do
Right.
is feel. They just react.
Right. Right.
So that is the first thing that people need to do, and that's so crucial. You think about it in any way, in any situation. People
Situation. Yeah.
who can't think, people who are too upset for whatever reason, whether it's justified or not, don't have the capacity to argue their case or to think about what they're doing. That's why people who do some really mad things, they're not thinking at all.
Yes.
They've gone,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're not there at all. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. So now that you talked about that, what are some things? I know that you talked about how the court system should change. What are some things that you think that should change, that you would like to improvements that you like to see?
The court itself, I don't think the court itself is going to change. It's
Okay.
almost like it's not as it's more entrenched, I think, than social work is. The court.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not going
Okay.
to change. But I think we, as people who are needing to go to the court,
Mm-hmm.
we need to change. We need to
Okay.
understand how the court isn't serving
That's
us.
good.
Yeah, we need to think about. Look. If I was going to race against Usain Bolt, yeah, if I was going to
Mm-hmm.
go for racing, I wouldn't be doing it because I know I can't beat him. Yeah, but
Okay.
the thing is, if I was going to, I don't know, if you're doing something and you're a long way behind them, you've
Yes.
got to figure out how you're going to get a level playing field, right? Now, you can't get a level playing field with a barrister who has learned, who's been training for this all the days of his life or
Mm-hmm.
her life, and does it every 5 days a week, and you don't even bother to prepare.
Right.
There's no level ground. So what I'm saying is, anyone who goes to court has to recognize that,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore think, okay, even barristers, they do this work, even when they've done this work all this time, so they've got skills, so they've honed their
Mm-hmm.
skills, honed their craft, and then they still spend a lot of time on that particular case.
Gotcha.
That means that you, being the person who's not legally trained, need to
Mm-hmm.
do an awful lot of work
Right.
if you're going to go to court and give yourself the best chance of doing well at court. Now, it doesn't mean it's impossible. I'm not painting a picture of it's impossible, because it's not. I'm
Right.
saying you have to recognize that you're up against someone who has pretty much mastered their skills, because that's
Okay.
what they've done. So you have to begin to master your skills. You need to begin to look at where you can gain strengths, where you can be confident, where you can master being able to put over your case in such a way that it elevates you in the judge's eyes.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. You can't just snap your fingers and do that. You have to put in that work. You have to get
Right.
skills. You have to get that support, and you have to train and prepare, and practice on a regular basis until
Right.
you are ready, until you are actually up to that point where you are ready to. And yes, I mean, if you ask me, someone could do it within a month if they put the time in.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to put, really
Be
put.
willing to put the time in. Yeah, that everything is be willing to put
Yeah.
some time aside to do this. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. So that's really good information for the audience, because I know my audience is always about learning about something new, and I really, when I first, saw that you wanted to, be a guest, I was like, family court, bravo. I was like, yes, we do need someone to navigate us through these things, because I see cases really go awry
Yeah.
with just emotions, just raw emotions, and it just goes to pits, goes another way.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely, you are so needed. Now let's flip the script to your book and your legacy, which is called Family Court: Giving Evidence in the Family Court. I know what inspired you, but what inspired you to write it?
I think I've always liked writing. I've loved writing, but I started doing personal development about 5 years ago,
Okay.
and little by little, it kind of, because I wrote a little book, a smaller book
Okay.
on the family court about
Okay.
10 years ago,
Mhm.
just about 11 years ago. And I wanted to write this book, the book I wrote on giving evidence
Right.
then, but I wasn't confident. I didn't feel I could do it.
Gotcha.
I just didn't think I could do it. I thought, oh, I don't think I can do that.
Mhm.
And then, as a result of doing, developing and doing personal development, I suddenly thought, there are things, it just suddenly started coming to me. There were
Uh-huh.
books that I was reading, and I thought, and somehow I didn't even plan it out well. And it just flew. It just, sometimes things just come off the page. And it just,
Absolutely. Yes.
and it was like that. And
You were meant to write it. That's what
yeah,
it was. At
yeah,
that particular time, you were just
yeah,
meant to write it that
yeah.
way.
That
Yeah.
was it. That was it. So it was just something that I'm very proud of that book.
That's good.
And anyone, I just want to say, anyone who reads that and they love it, please give me a testimonial, because I need more testimonials.
Okay, where can it be found? We don't know that part.
It's on Amazon.
Okay,
Amazon.com.
awesome.
Just
Okay,
Family Court, Giving Evidence in Family Court by Michael Watson, and it's there.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So have you had any recent feedback from any of the
Oh yeah,
readers?
yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about those.
Oh, you talking about feedback about the book?
Yes.
Yes, feedback about is mostly very, very positive. I've
Good.
got one person who I
Mhm.
don't know who this person is. I've got an idea who says it's 1 out of 5, and I don't. I think you must get someone. That's that. So they're the only person. Everyone else is either 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. Mostly
Yeah.
5 out of 5s. So the feedback is really positive. I just need more of it. I just need more people to read that book, and because I think it's highly readable. I think it's very clear. The people who've read it say it's very clear, and it helps people. I mean, it gives people a lot of. It's very clear about what you need to do. There's lots of There's lots of examples in the book. There's lots of do's and don'ts. So it gives you a very clear picture of what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, how to get the best out of the court system. Court etiquette, those sorts of things. There's so many bits in that.
Yeah. And I think, like I said before, I think this is such a needed topic to really, to really delve into, so that you can be on top of things.
Yeah.
In such an emotionally charged situation, it should great reviews.
Yeah, and it has. It has. I
Yes.
just need more of them. I just need.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, you have you worked with someone or have that has applied the 4-step system? Because I know you have
Yeah.
a 4-step system. And
Yeah.
how did that work for them? Share
That,
that with us.
yeah, very, very happy. I mean, I was working with a young man who'd had a difficult time with his ex-wife actually,
Mm-hmm.
and she was making out that he was. I think she was making out that he was doing certain things to his children, which weren't. I don't believe were true. Which I think,
Right.
obviously he was able to prove that it wasn't true. But when I first started working them, he was really quite nervous because obviously he's going to court, and he was
Right. Of
worried about
course.
his children. He's worried about the relationship with his children, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I worked with him, he's able to. I think sometimes what happens is they develop faith and confidence in you.
Okay.
And because I've been there time and time again, I know the types of things that you worry about. I know how people can be helped, and how people are nervous, and what you need to do to put them at ease. A lot of it is emotional support. People need
Right.
that level of emotional support.
Right.
So when you give them that level of emotional support, when you also then help them to see what they need to do in terms of how they come across, how they work with their children, how
Mm-hmm.
they express themselves in the court, how they might express themselves, and you help them bit by bit to develop their confidence in that way. Because a lot of the time, I should say, the other thing that's helped a lot is my public speaking, because of that, what I realize is a lot of people. It's not the court itself is very is frightening for people, but it's frightening
Right.
also
Yeah.
because people aren't used to speaking in public.
Right.
And although it's only a few people in court, it's because it's such a emotive topic, because it affects your livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
It's very daunting. So
Mm-hmm.
people are, number one, they're in an alien environment. Number two, it's they're not used to speaking in front of other
Right.
people in a person in
Mm-hmm.
this way. And number three, it's such a kind of difficult topic anyhow, so difficult to
Yeah.
manage. And they haven't and they're dealing with barristers who will have a go. The barristers are attacking them.
Right.
So all those things lead to make it very, very difficult. And also when you're at court, you are not. It's not like when you're under normal circumstances, you can do what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't do any of that at court. You have to
Right. Of
behave in
course.
a certain way. And so it's much, much more structured.
Right.
You're not in control of anything. And in the witness box, the only thing you're in control of is yourself. And that's the point
Yes.
that people have
That
to
is
realize.
it. Even in regular life, that's the only one you can control.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It is, but in regular life, at least if you want to get up and walk down the road, you can.
Yeah, you can, you can't do it in court.
You
You're
can't do
right.
that in the witness box. You can't get up and get up the
Yeah.
road. You can't
You're
argue back.
right.
Well, you can argue back, but it's not going to help you.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
going to undermine
Absolutely.
your case. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I always say, you argue without arguing. That means
Right.
you
That's
argue
good.
your case, but you never argue.
Right.
As we never get into a slanging match. You
Right.
just put it over calmly, quietly, and forcefully.
Awesome. That's really good. So these are our final thoughts, and we just want to thank you for those final thoughts. Can you tell us how we can connect with you for more guidance?
You can connect with me in a number of ways. I'm going to give you my mobile, or in the States it would be the cell number.
Okay.
That is +44 because I'm in the UK.
Okay.
7960 07063.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
then
And how can they reach you as
can
far as
reach
social
me.
any social media?
You can reach me in social medias via Instagram. I'm on. My handle is Michael240656.
Okay.
Facebook, it's just Michael Watson.
Awesome.
LinkedIn, it's just Michael Watson, but I also have a Incredible Witness newsletter on LinkedIn.
Oh, that's
So
great.
you can catch me there as well.
Awesome. And audience, you can support him by going on Amazon and buying his book and leaving a review.
Yeah,
Please buy the book and review. I
please,
always
please.
tell you guys this, they buy the book, but they don't leave a review. It's
I
so
know.
very important.
It is.
Leave
It
a
is.
review. He needs
Yeah.
those reviews. All right.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We want to thank you so much, Michael, for being here today. And this is Keeping It Real on Purpose. And we're going to say goodbye for now.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so, so much.